On today's show, we're going to examine the power of our intuition to tap in to the root cause of illness. So many people go to doctors and experts looking for answers, but so many leave without the answers they need. But today, we're going to tap into the very essence of our being to bring to light the truth that will set us free. Hi, Jamie.
Hi, Daniel.
So tell me, what's been going on?
Well, about 6 years ago, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, which I've always been healthy other than having a lot of anxiety issues. And what that represents for me is really tight muscles and to the extent of pain in my body. I have a lot of trouble sleeping. And fibromyalgia is diagnosed by a process of elimination, so they figure out what you don't have in order to figure out what they ultimately diagnose as fibromyalgia. And it varies. Sometimes the weather affects me, sometimes emotional stress affects me. I am tired a lot, so I have to sleep more than normal or I feel really tired. I have really heightened senses, hearing, smell, sound.
And have you been to anyone for help on this? What's happened?
Well, yeah, I've tried a lot of things. My general physician has put me on all kinds of medication to kind of relax me and calm me down. So there's and I take sleeping pills to sleep at night, and he's indicated that that's just because that's the way I'm wired. That's my brain, and that's the way I'm wired. So like a diabetic would need to take insulin, I need to take sleeping pills.
Just a fixed condition, and that's just how it is.
Yeah, and I know that medication has long-term effects, and I take several medications to try and relax my muscles. And I also have arthritis, which is, I think that a lot of this is just my body's kind of fighting back on emotional things that I've suppressed through my life.
Yes.
And
so, are you ready for some truth?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, let's have a look for you. Okay, the fibromyalgia, what your body is saying to me is you feeling that you haven't achieved enough in your life.
Mm-hmm. True. Mm-hmm.
But it's not really the truth, but it is how you feel though, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
Yeah. So what happens is, let's go a little bit deeper with your body, and it says that whenever somebody feels not enough, that they need to keep pushing and pushing and pushing, the body has the only recourse of going, no, I'm going to slow you down, I'm going to make you tired, I'm going to make you sore, I'm going to make you pay attention. So really all that's going on there is your body just saying, it's time we had a conversation. Because this nonsense about not having achieved enough is not your stuff. That comes from your father. There's no basis in physical reality whatsoever. All right? So let's go a little bit deeper and see what else your body would like to say about that. The very first thing it's saying is you need to slow down. Yeah? Because there's this thing in life called regret, and you're coming very close to it, whereby you'll get to a point where you're frozen in so much pain that the simplest thing like smelling a rose will be out of reach to you. This is what we call the lesson of a brick. So what it does is it shows us in graduations. When it wants to show us to slow down, it might give us a little bit of fatigue, a little bit of pain. We call that lesson of the feather. What happens is the more stubborn we are, the more we push, no, I need to achieve more, I need to work longer hours, I need to do more and more and more. Body says, well, I need to up the ante, starts fighting back. And right now it's at the lesson of the brick, it's saying stop because you're about to get the lesson of the Mack truck. Okay, and it's showing me in a forceful kind of, the way I'm talking to you is the way it's talking to me. It's, no, she needs to hear this. This needs to stop now. So the very first thing is you need to slow down. You need to really, literally do all the things that you love. Going out in the garden, okay, being with the flowers, being with the plants, all these beautiful things. planting spices, planting herbs, all these gentle, loving things that you love how to do. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes. Because that is, it's kind of like a loophole. It has you feel productive even though you're not exerting energy. Did you know that? It's like a back door for you to not race around and not push yourself. Being in the garden for you is very cathartic, and it's that loophole. So it says that's your angle, because it says you find it quite hard to slow yourself down completely, right? So it's saying do what works, do where the momentum is. Garden, garden, garden. You guys need to have a garden project to keep you in the garden more. Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Do you work full time at the moment?
I don't. No, I don't work.
You don't work?
No.
Well, it's saying that your body is saying half a day should be in nature. Half a day in nature.
Yeah.
And if that's by yourself, that's okay.
Yeah.
And the other half a day with your partner doing things that you both love. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah, I tend to keep myself really busy all day long, and I don't even know what I'm doing. But
I was
I'm
going to
busy
ask
doing
you that.
Yeah, I'm busy doing it, and I don't even know what it is. And I feel like my husband has expectations for me that because he works, I should be doing things, I should be accomplishing something. And I'm surprised that you would say that came from my father, because I was close to my dad, but not as close with my mom, and I've always felt like my mom was the one who has, I mean, I have this ridiculous sense of perfectionism, that I'm trying to be perfect.
Guess the same way you feel that your husband has expectations on you, guess what your mum felt?
Yeah.
That her husband has expectations on her.
Oh,
so it starts back with your father. Your mum got it from your father, and you got it from him too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah?
Yeah. He was an alcoholic and a womanizer, and she probably assumed that was her fault, even though she just...
Well, she can't do enough. She can't be enough for him.
Yeah, yeah.
He's got to get drunk.
Yeah.
She's obviously not enough if he's got to be drunk to be around her. And the womanizing as well. I'm clearly not enough.
Yeah.
So exactly what you were saying, you've absolutely nailed it, is you're keeping yourself busy because you don't feel you're contributing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how about the concept that your husband married you just because he loves you? He didn't marry you with this prenup that says, I'm only going to stay with you if you contribute.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that's true, and yet I believe that he's got issues regarding money, and he's never had to support somebody else before, and so that creates stress for him, so I take that on.
Okay, right, and you can see what creates even more stress for him is you putting yourself in a position of illness, right? So the mind turns everything upside down. It says to you, if you don't contribute, he's going to get more stressed. So all that pressure to contribute is now making you unwell, which makes him 10 times more stressed.
Probably true. Yeah. Yeah.
Because when you heal and when you're relaxed and when you're happy, he feels great. Now I don't need to focus on my wife. I can go out and get things done. That's what brings in the money. But there's this part of you that is tripping up that whole process.
Yeah.
So Jamie, what I feel is what you need is to sit down with your husband and to look at what can you do that contributes, but that is from your heart. Yeah. And what hours you're to do that and what hours you're not to do that. Because that way you've heard from him. You've gotten that permission and you felt it within yourself. These are my parameters. Then if you don't go out of those parameters, you don't need to feel guilty. It just needs to be clear. You've never really had that conversation, have you? No.
Probably not with anybody.
No, that's
because
right.
There's never enough. I never do enough.
Exactly. Because you've got that belief. I'm not enough for the people in my family.
Yeah.
Can you feel that?
You know, I think I've always just felt unlovable, and I think it has to do with my dad's alcoholism and all of the issues of the...
It's exactly. I'm not enough for this family.
Yeah.
I'm not enough to hold their attention. I'm not enough to stop them from arguing.
I thought it was my fault that they divorced.
This is where it's all coming from. Because you don't want to create divorce again, abandonment. You don't want to feel the pain of this is all my fault again. You need to do more. I need to compensate. I need to do more and more and more so I can hold it all together. And look what's happening. You're actually creating what you've been fearing. All this stress in the family. And that's what it does when we come from this space of, I'm not enough for this. Until we see the truth, we're going to create the very experience that we've been fearing. So if you can sit down with your partner and you're going to map out, how can I contribute to this household in a loving and soulful way? What are the hours? When are my days off? Yep. And you'll see he'll be pretty generous with you. Doesn't seem like a taskmaster to me, this guy. And you're going to feel, great, we've established that. Then your body's going to be able to update that and go, great, this is all I need to do. Now, on top of that, you're going to get to work with one of the UI mentors. They're going to help you dissolve that belief that I'm not enough for the people in my life. And when you dissolve that by seeing the truth, your truth in that, your whole body's just going to go, just release.
That would be wonderful.
Because that's what the struggle in your body is. You said arthritis. Where do you think the arthritis is coming from?
I just had knee replacement surgery. Well, my mom has arthritis. My brother has arthritis.
And do you know why? Because they're all carrying around, I'm not enough in this household.
Yeah.
The beliefs are passed down from one generation to the next. Yeah. I was brought up in a Jewish household, and every time we got together for dinner, you know what they said? People tried to kill us, we survived, let's eat. Every generation is told, we're hated, we're hated, we're hated.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what's happened in your family. So Jamie,
that makes a lot of sense.
You've got so much to look forward to. It's just a belief that needs to be dissolved. And as long as you allow us to work with you, that will be a very fast process.
Fabulous. I'm really looking forward to it. Thank
Wonderful.
you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Here in the studio is Jamie. Let's welcome her back. Hello,
Hi.
Jamie. Great
Hi,
to
Jamie.
see you again.
Great to see you as well. Thank you.
So tell me, you've been on a whirlwind of a journey in the last 3 months since we first met. How's it been?
It's been phenomenal. It has been amazing. It's been life-changing.
So when we first spoke, you were suffering really at the thick of fibromyalgia. Can you just share with us what's life like living with that illness?
Well, it's very limiting. You're limited by movement. I was limited by my energy level, and it's just uncomfortable. It makes you tired because your body hurts, so it makes you tired, and it limited what I could do physically.
Now, did that affect your work life, your relationship?
I think it affected everything.
Wow.
I mean, it also it's a psychological thing as well, that your mind tries to wrap itself around the idea that you have a disease. And so the mental part of it is also very difficult. And it was something that I didn't exhibit physical symptoms, so people never thought I looked sick, so couldn't imagine that I felt bad. So that's kind of frustrating and part of the complication of fibromyalgia.
And where had you gone previously for answers?
Well, I mean, the first thing I did was go to my doctor to get a medical diagnosis. I saw a therapist who specifically worked with people that had fibromyalgia, and more typically it's women than men. And I think we scratched the surface of some issues, but I didn't really have any significant progress through doing that. My dad was an alcoholic, so I've been involved in an organization that helps families of alcoholics, and I've been going to those meetings for the last 20 years.
But still the illness persisted.
Right, the illness persisted. There was never a sense that there was a connection between emotionally what was going on, or I knew there was a connection, I just didn't know how to address it or how to
And what's publicly said about fibromyalgia out there in the world? What is said about that? Is it hereditary? Where does it come from? What are people?
Well, I mean, my own version of it was that it was a neurological disorder, that it was a result of the wiring in your brain, And a lot of people don't understand it. A lot of people think it's a trash can diagnosis, that it's not really real, which as a patient doesn't feel very good.
It's very invalidating.
It could be, yeah, it could be a result of genetics, but I think...
So still a lot of question marks out there.
There still are a lot of question marks.
So this was 3 months ago. Now let me ask you this, Jamie. Do you still have fibromyalgia?
I do not have fibromyalgia. I learned so much about myself and finally got to the understanding of what my issues were that were holding me back, because I knew I was held back. I just couldn't identify what it was. I'd read books on fibromyalgia and it would say, well, you have issues you need to get to. And I thought, I just want to get to them, but I didn't know how.
So there we go. Within 3 months, we've gone from horrendous pain in the body, completely affecting relationships and Jamie's ability to work. And now, no fibromyalgia. You mentioned a minute ago about you realized about limiting beliefs. Mm-hmm. Are you able to share for a brief minute for our audience, what do you mean by that? You found you had limiting beliefs. What does that mean?
Well, I really believed that I was unworthy of love, that I was in some way damaged, that I didn't deserve to have a great marriage, that I didn't think that I deserved to have a great relationship with people, because I just thought there was something wrong with me. And
these beliefs, during this journey, did you get to see a direct correlation between them and the life you were living?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I could look at my primary career and my limiting beliefs and how it so worked against my ability to be successful, although I was successful in spite of that, but I always thought it was by chance or because of other people around me. I was never fully convinced that it was because I had that talent.
There's always an excuse why you're successful,
right,
rather than from your own merit.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
yes.
very hard to attain fulfillment when you can't let in that self-love.
Right. Absolutely. And I've always had a perfectionism issue, and I know that I imposed that on people that I worked with, and that isn't something that I can look back on and be happy about it, but I think I got to know the people that I worked with well enough that I think they love me anyway. And I'm looking at that perfectionism, and I'm looking forward to being very imperfect the rest of my life.
That is amazing. I love it. Now, has your relationship changed during this process?
My relationship with my husband?
Yes.
Well, I think it has, absolutely, in that we've had great conversations, and the insight has really taken the pressure off of that relationship and off of my husband, and allowed me to recognize that I have things that I want to do, and I think that's just a benefit to the relationship in every regard. When I came here 3 months ago, I was really struggling with my relationship, or lack of relationship, with my mother. And through this process, I have got such incredible awareness about that relationship, and I am so at peace with it, which is the first time in my life, and I'm 63, so it's taken a while, but I'm very thankful that I can say I'm at peace with that relationship and the rest of my family.
Wow.
Yeah.
What would you say to anyone else out there who has fibromyalgia?
I would say don't give up. There are a lot of people who are handicapped as a result of that. And when I was first given the diagnosis, I told my doctor I wasn't going to accept that. That was not going to be me. I wasn't sure how I was going to make that not be me, but I was determined to not let it be me. And so I would say to anybody suffering with fibromyalgia, although the symptoms are very real, there is reason why you're manifesting that illness. And I would encourage them to find ways, and I think the most phenomenal way is through UI, to learn what's really going on that's manifesting itself as fibromyalgia.
So Jamie, you have not only been going through the mentoring, but you've actually learned how to access UI for yourself. Mm-hmm. Do you want to share anything about that?
I would love to. I have always been told and believed that I should meditate, and I have never really been very successful at meditating, which made trying to connect with my higher self a little bit more difficult, or at least that was my limiting belief when I started the process. And for me, it helps when I put my hands over my face. I completely block out the world, and I can hear the voice of my higher self. I know what she sounds like. I hear what she's saying, and she's revealed some really awesome things to me. And I just feel absolutely giddy when I think about the fact that I am now walking this walk with my higher self. And I feel that we have a connection with universe and God, which I'm just thrilled about. I have a great future to look forward to, and I'm excited about it. I think that UI gives me the tools to know the answers to everything I need to know for the rest of my life.
Wow. Thank you so much for being on this journey with us.
Thank you, Daniel. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, yet another profound truth thanks to UI. When we learn to access universal intelligence, all our answers are available. We just need to believe we are worthy of living a great life.